Welcome into today's 820 show. A new installment, a new conversation, a new discussion about that tenuous, slippery term called resilience that I offer to you every day with the purpose of providing us with that avenue, that connection that brings us more together than to separate or distance us. There are so many things happening in my life, your life, in all the world right now that tend to put us at odds with each other, or on one end of the spectrum and you're on the other end of the spectrum, or on a different subject, or on a subject we are at odds or at variance. And that's necessary. We're going to be debates, conflicts. I think we should also consider the other possibility that even though we may disagree, can we have a conversation? Can we listen as each of us make their pitch, make their statement for today without over talking them, ignoring them, telling them they're stupid, or you're not as good as me, or I'm not as good as you? Can we open up that heart? I know I keep talking about the heart part of being resilient. And there's a reason for that. The heart is constant. The heart is a repository, is the physical location of how we got here that creates everything before us. All we have to do is be aware of it and respect that. So along that statement about connection and separation, I want to stop the separation. To stop the separation. And calling out this thing about means and ends, they're not opposites or competitors. Yes, like you and I. Yes, like me and God. Like you and your God. Me and my infrastructure. You and yours. Those are not separate entities or destinations or targets. Not here and over there. Always here and present. Not just imagination or fantasy or pending reliance on AI. It comes from your understanding and respect of your essence and the infrastructure built to access and nurture this awareness. I mentioned my infrastructure. I have mentioned that in other episodes, but just a short review. My infrastructure for resilience that I've offered to you just as a reference point, as a low-level baseline that you can then redefine, restructure that applies to you. But my infrastructure for resilience is desire/hunger, discipline, drive, beauty, and then getting that expressed in my presence. That's the process for me to connect the pieces, the failures and the successes, the starts, the stops, the hesitation, the procrastination, to get to the consistency needed, buoyed by the constants that I do not create or produce. I can only produce from the recognition and respect for the creation presented before me, and not ever for me. I can only produce from the recognition and respect for the creation presented before me, and never ever for me. For all of us to sense and use and deliver from in accordance with the purpose and message insisted in us since birth. The current birth of and in this very moment. And also, not to put a damper on this conversation today, I mentioned the current birth and death. The current birth of and in this very moment, but also the present death of and in this very moment. Now, I know that's not a good way to help you see through the garbage and the chaff and the noise out there, and giving you probably a different perspective on how we can address this separation. What puts us at odds or at variance with other people that we don't know, or hell, even ones we do know. Typically, we will have that happening in our families, with our friends, with our coworkers, with our neighbors. Normally, we wouldn't have any conflict with them, but again, I say it probably is by design. That noise that keeps coming at us every single day and almost in every single moment, it tends to take our eyes off the prize, but off of our path. That I hope for myself and for you that we have taken the time to at least have an idea of the direction, have an idea of the forwardness we're proceeding with, and not with assumptions or outsourcing the reason for heading this way. That's something I'm asking you and asking myself every day to reset that. Not go backwards. Reset forward to recognize the commonness. And that is, in essence, the reason for 820 and the topics every day about resilience. We have so much in common that neither you nor I create for ourselves. Our commonness is the constants given to you and I and everyone else in this world. But usually we forget that. We forget that we produce fantasies and made up ideas that have no substance or sustenance to sustain them. We just go with that because that's what they said. That's what they do. That's where the crowd is going. That's where the herd is heading towards. Without questioning for ourselves, is that true to me? Is that love to me? Is that yes to me? Is that positive to me? And would I be comfortable, confident, and humble, courageous to share that not just with other people, with myself, with my creator? Is that something we could do? Typically, no. But I'm offering to you another way to look at this. Every moment we get to live has responsibility and accountability. All we have to do, it's a very simple process, but come off of the vanity side of your ego and your fears and move another step forward, being courageous, being confident and humble, and then sharing this connection with others called resilience. Stay present, stay current. No matter where you are in this world, please do remember, it is always 820.